Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. It is your certified life and relationship coach, Kendra Curry. I'm back again doing another video. It has been a while, guys. I mean a while, maybe even over a month. I have just been enjoying life, doing my self-development, my self-care, and I'm on the journey, of course, to help others. So I have just been working on just getting myself out there, working on my business, building my brand. And at times when I can jump on, I just haven't had the time because it's just so busy, nowadays, trying to balance work, home, business, all these things we're juggling. We have a whole lot of hats we wear, and sometimes I don't get to get on here as often as I'd like or as often as I should. But lately, when I know that the Holy Spirit, that God is telling me to do something, I will need to start addressing these things, because I realize how important it is for us as a body of Christ to be obedient. When we are called to do something, we must do it and act and just follow the Spirit, But if you have not already subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and do that. I appreciate all the support. If you can, for today's video, you can go ahead and share it. To spread the word today on, I'm going to talk about what is on my heart. It's just quite a heavy topic. And I may or may not have this video go over 30 minutes. I'm going to do my best and wrap it up. It's definitely going to be a part 2. So definitely turn on your notifications. So if ever I do post a part 2 of this, I don't know when that will be. Hopefully it can be as soon as I can make time for it with all my other activities. But yes, I want to today just go ahead and start talking about this topic, because it's a very sad thing, spiritual sickness that I believe needs to be addressed, and I believe that it's not often addressed. And in my opinion, I just need to be honest that I have wanted to avoid saying certain things and certain topics for fear of being not canceled, because no one even knows who I am quite outside of my local city, or my daily outgoings, is that a word? But I come across so many people, and the kind of work that I'm doing and being introduced to, as far as coaching people, again, as a life coach and as a relationship coach, I would say it is my duty to bring to the attention of people of what I noticed. And I just want to say that out of fear of maybe not wanting to shed some light on some topics with people, I just, out of my own humanness, I've not wanted to touch on it. But spiritual sickness to me is a very prevalent issue, and I believe that as people, as Christians, life coaches, whatever the capacity that you're in, if you're not addressing this, you're doing a big disservice and disadvantage to people who look up to you, any followers that you claim to have, anybody who you claim to be. If you are someone to yourself, and if you've not addressed this in your own personal life, what I'm saying may even sound foreign to you. It may sound even that, you can come for me if you want, but I'm just here to, empower and inform the people who are responsible and that are under me, who are listening to me. And I feel that it is my responsibility to bring to the forefront some of the issues that are plaguing the world. But that's a huge scale. But even smaller than the world, issues that are plaguing the community, issues that are plaguing families, issues that are plaguing just people in general. These are things that need to be addressed and how to handle them. And spiritual sickness is a probably new topic. Just the way I want to present it and introduce it is it's going to take a couple of videos here, so please guys come with me as I try to go ahead and get this started. I'm again certified life and relationship coach, and outside of that, my responsibility, as I was saying earlier, is from God to inform and shed light on. And what I've noticed that I've not wanted to talk about is the condition of so many people who I encounter, and I notice this. And now, I never claim to be a doctor. I never claim to be able to treat or diagnose anyone on my channel, so I'm definitely putting that disclaimer out there. But a lot of the terminology that I'm going to use may even sound medical, but it doesn't mean that I'm saying to take it in terms of utilizing it in a medical sense. But just keep in mind that as you watch this video, it's about spiritual sickness. And let's just go ahead and get started, guys. So, well, all that rambling, I said all that to say that I want to be as rational, as clear-minded, as detached from my womanly emotions as possible as I just begin to talk about this video. So whoever may get a hold of this and whoever wants to come for me, that is fine. But of course, they say don't shoot the messenger, but I am a messenger, and whatever shots you want to fire at me, that is fine. Talk about what you will, but let's just also focus on the message here, and let's talk about the real thing, the real issues that are plaguing people. Just like as we would if we are sick physically, people don't address their condition spiritually. And it's a whole lot right now that I want to start with, but let's just start out with, if you're not a Christian and you're watching this video, I would say what I'm saying is going to go in one ear and out the other, but hear me out, because you might learn something. You might be able to identify with some of the things that I'm going to talk about when it comes to spiritual sickness, because whether or not you agree that you have a spirit, that is something that you and yourself have to discuss. And I just know, as for me and people who identify with me, we identify with having a spirit, and we identify with having the spirit that comes from God in us. And within that comes a whole big ball of, it's a big dynamic, a very, very big dynamic. And if you've not experienced that dynamic with yourself and with God, then hey, again, take it as you will. But this video is possibly gonna pass you by, but whatever. So what I want to say is, just being spiritually sick is just a similarity of being physically sick. You have a spirit within you. You have a spirit person within you who is designed in a way, and is structured in a way just like your physical person, okay? You would go to Google and you would try to look up different symptoms of a sickness, right? If you're feeling sick, you know, physically, right? So in terms of us being, as far as on my channel, I'm a Christian, and again, I keep identifying with that, but as well as with that, it's a huge dynamic of things, and included in that dynamic, there is an aspect called spirit man. So in this spirit man, the spirit man is a very intellectual, a very wise, very verbal, vocal entity. You know, he is within us and within our spirit. That is where God talks to us, and within us we identify with God. And that dynamic sometimes with God can be a very nature of just, it's a very supernatural nature. I would say if you can't identify with it, you have to sit with your internal voice and get to know that supernatural nature of you, and identify with that nature. But again, this is for those who can identify as being Christians, and other than that, this is going to go right past you. But the spiritual sicknesses that I'm seeing that we as people are encountering are because we are lacking the wisdom, we are lacking the intellect, we are lacking the definition, we are lacking the effort, we are lacking the cognizant awareness to go to that spirit and identify within us where we are sick. Just like if you were physically sick, as I was saying, you would possibly start out going to the doctor, maybe Google, and you would try to find out where or what is going on, you know. So when I'm looking at the people that I talk to, and when I'm helping people and I'm listening to some of the problems, some of the symptoms, I'm just like going over it in my head, because I too have been through things, and I know and I can identify with the fact that I have been down this road, and I've experienced that condition before, and I know it very well. I know it in and out. And with that being said, of course, I'm not some witch doctor or some kind of like spooky, crazy, self-proclaimed healer, prophet, or anything like that. Again, I'm just very intuitive with myself, and I'm very in tune with my spirit, with God, and I do not claim to be anything other than just Kendra, and knowing myself and trying to understand and better myself each and every day. So with that being said, you know, I understand like life happens, you know, marriage, divorce, all these things, and life just begins to pile on, and we don't always take the time out to try to understand ourselves. But there has to be time set aside, there has to be effort given, there has to be opportunity for you to sit with yourself and try to understand, maybe if you are experiencing some of these spiritual sicknesses that I'm noticing that many people are experiencing in life. And it's just a disservice, again, to me, if I don't inform, if I don't empower people to understand themselves, to try to better themselves. And I just only want to bring awareness, and I only want to come for these sicknesses, because these sicknesses are not unto death, and I know that a lot of people are suffering from them. And I should not have, as a Christian, want to badger or should want to point fingers or want to belittle anyone or discredit anyone. I don't take any experiences from people if, you know, they've gone through things and they've experienced things that maybe they've never told anyone about. But there are some spiritual sicknesses that people need to be mindful of, and that they need to spend time with themselves and address these things, because these things are plaguing us as a nation, as a world, and even just starting within your own home. These things are plaguing us, and I, for one, have been a victim of them, but I don't choose to stay and remain a victim. And I feel like so many people, in terms of some of these illnesses and sicknesses that we are seeing, that I'm seeing, so many people are choosing to accept these as behaviors and as social norms, and they just choose to accept them. And I do not choose to accept them. I choose to challenge them, and I choose to find out more about them as I grow and mature and become the best, higher version of me as I can. I know a lot of these conditions that I'm referring to. I just want to go ahead and touch on a few. Excuse me as I'm choking here. I am just going to go ahead and jump into some of these things that I'm noticing, because I was triggered to talk about it, specifically because I hadn't talked to a long time friend of mine, and you know, the last time I spoke with them, they were in the exact same place as I left them when we last talked. And it's just like, wow, this person is still dealing with that issue. And it made me almost sad for them. And then again, I had to remind myself, I must distance myself from someone that is experiencing these kinds of symptoms and this kind of condition, because for me, if someone is having an issue in their life, I identify with them where they are in their spirit and how they are managing their spirit. Are they healthy within their spirit, just as you would as in your physical body? When someone has an issue, immediately that's what I'm thinking of. Like, I don't know, that's just how I'm wired, and that's just how God built me, and I accept that, and I use it to my advantage, and I help people be better, help themselves to heal and get through situations as a life coach, or as whatever part of me people get to encounter me as. But I said all that to say, there's so many issues plaguing our world, so many issues plaguing us individually, that we're not taking the time out to sit with and try to understand. And for me, I know I'm, as a responsible adult, a responsible enough person to know that when something is not right, I should fix it. I don't know, it's almost like some people want to stay under, they want to stay ignorant. You know, they want to stay where they are. And they want to enjoy the fact that, you know, they just aren't perfect. I choose to not do so. I choose to challenge myself in every which way, physically, spiritually, financially, emotionally, that I can. If I notice that I'm off, or notice that this isn't comfortable for me, like, I just have that's the spirit, you know, within us. It will notify you, and that's a part of you, and that's the dynamic that I'm referring to, that will let you know when something is off. It will start to manifest in your life. And again, this is going to have to be a part 2, because this is not something I can just graze over, but this is just an introduction to understanding spiritual sickness and understanding the awareness that we must wake up and address these issues. And when I spoke with my friend and I noticed that they're still having some of these issues, my first immediate reaction, I want to know, like, what research have you done about this? You know, what have you found out or learned about yourself to try to get better? Because you're still in the same spot, and it's been like 6-7 months, and it's just like, are you kidding me? You know, so I don't discredit or try to detach myself too much from the person when I'm talking to them, but I do understand that we as Christians, we have a responsibility to God to maintain a certain spiritual health level, if you can say that. There's a certain spiritually healthy level and relationship that you should be on. And if you're dealing with the same issue 6, 7, 8 months down the line, you kind of might need to take a look into something a little bit more further and find out. I'm trying to say this without sounding a little condescending, but you want to make sure that you're doing the work and that you are at least doing your part. And then on the other end of that, you're just going to wait for the Lord. And this is where I might lose a few people, and you guys might get like, oh, here comes the strange stuff. But in all actuality, that's what we got to do. And it's no way around it, because we are struggling. People are struggling immensely. They're struggling with things like, I'm hearing, you know, all the relationship talk. It's so over our head, and it's almost like we're drowning in some crazy sea of trying to understand what's going on with the opposite sex. And it's really not that difficult, you know, as far as all these different polyamory and hypergamy and high value and low value and, misogynistic and feminism and all of these different spiritual conditions that everyone's like throwing out. It's not just spiritual, and it is, I understand, reality and spiritual. All of it is a matter of the heart, okay? So it's where your heart is, people. And I'm hearing so many people are plagued with so many conditions in their heart, and it's just like, man, when was the last time people really actually sat with themselves, listened to themselves, and found out, where is this voice coming from? Where is this sickness coming from? Like, do you even see it as a sickness, or are you just too above seeing it as a sickness? Because you are sick. You're struggling to understand a version of yourself or another person that you don't even understand about yourself. So it's almost like everybody can point the finger, and if I sound like I'm pointing the finger, I'm not. But I do believe that we must start inside us first in order to get to a certain level of spiritual health and being able to kind of just work from the inside out. And everybody is nowadays just like working from the outside in and pointing the finger and canceling each other and just going crazy. And I'm just like, listen, it is not that difficult to identify a problem, but it is very difficult to identify solutions. I hear a whole lot of solutions being tossed around, and a whole lot of solutions really don't work. And it's kind of like the sick leading the sick, the blind leading the blind, and no one's listening to each other. So I am just trying to bridge the gap and really bring awareness, really empower people. Could you all just stop? Let's just stop and just take a minute and address ourselves, because I want us to really become, as a society and as a world, just spiritually healthy than we are. The condition, just like the coronavirus, is just becoming, it's just out of control. You think you have a remedy, and then the next thing you know, they turn around and they're saying, oh, you got to get 3 vaccinations, then you got to get this vaccination each year. And that's how it is, kind of like with all of these issues in relationships and all these relationships, not all relationships, but all these other issues that we're dealing with. It's just like we're going from issue to issue and trying to find solution to solution, and none of these solutions seem to be working for any of these people. And I'm just like, have you stopped and thought about what your real issue really is? Have you really stopped to think about, are you really serious about what you're asking someone else to be or do or achieve or become? I don't feel that we are hearing each other. I feel that people are looking for a way to avoid themselves and point the finger and point the blame at someone else, instead of stopping and identifying, have I identified with my issues, and have I identified with myself enough to not be contagious enough when dealing with others? Because how spiritual sickness works is just like physical sickness. When you don't deal with it, it's going to spread. It's going to get to other people. And the more we continue to avoid and evade and finger point, it's just going to continue to spread through our families, to our children, to our spouses. I mean, how much can we avoid ourselves? You're going to be with yourself for the rest of your life. And if you want to continue to live spiritually sick, you can. I'm not. I want to continue to empower others to not do so either. I'm just, saddened at the condition in the world. I want us to be proactive about our spiritual health. I'm very passionate about that. I know that I'm not perfect, but I know that I'm spiritually healthy enough to know to keep myself grounded in certain areas that I may struggle in. I have a system, I have a belief system, I have a core value system that enables me to be aware of my mental, of my physical, of my spiritual condition, to the point to where I'm able to not be contagious to others. If I am feeling contagious about an issue, if I'm feeling anger built up in my spirit, okay, I'm going to isolate myself. I'm going to do the work while I'm in isolation to learn about this anger that I have. I'm going to take it, I'm going to turn it in to my spiritual authority, which is God, and I'm going to ask him and submit that and say, hey, what's this anger about? What is this? Please show me. People aren't going to do that work, and in turn that sickness is going to sit and fester, and that anger is just going to manifest and to keep on spreading until it's like a fire and just getting on everybody. And it's just like, for me, I am almost so glad that I am where I am in terms of, I'm not struggling in my life in any area to prove a point to anyone, to point the finger at anyone. I'm not in a position in my life where I'm begging anyone to do anything for me or to be anything other than who they are. I let people just be themselves, and I can accept them or I can't. And then I move on. I'm not going to sit here and try and understand if they don't want to understand. I'm going to release it. I'm going to move on. I'm not going to hold on to any anger or bitterness or resentfulness and internalize if someone doesn't want me around, or if someone is not, satisfied with me. I'll do my best, what I can, but I'm not going to say that I'm in a position where I, let it eat me up and then it becomes my spiritual sickness, So I don't know, guys, we got some work to do, and I just felt like sharing that today. I hope that somebody can learn something from this, and I think that I'm hoping that I can, make this world a better place. I just do have that dream. So, I hope that's your dream, and I hope you get a chance to share with somebody something good. Share something spiritually healthy, all this, I mentioned polyamorous and all this hypergamy, all this kind of like toxic and, even just perversion and fetishism and whatever people are into nowadays, OnlyFans and sex work, all this disgusting things, like, and I'm not saying as married or, whatever your preference is that you gotta be a certain thing. You might be trying to work it out. You might be in an area in your life where you're trying to figure it out, and you need to work through that. And I'm not saying like you're this horrible person for having these horrible desires or something, but like, you really need to sit and evaluate what's going on up here and what's going on in here, because some of this stuff is eating you up and you're passing it on. God forbid, who knows what people are into. I just feel a sense of we need healing, in this nation. We need healing so bad. My heart is just so heavy, of course, racism and discrimination, like all of these spiritual sicknesses, we are dealing with as a world, and it's just like frustrating to keep cutting on the TV, cutting on social media, cutting on all these things and seeing like people just struggling. Y'all need help. We need help. I need help, but I'm doing the work. It's like, are you people doing the work? And I myself, like, I have had failed relationships. I've had a failed marriage, and that's fine. But that was out of ignorance and not understanding who I was and what my illnesses were and what in terms of my spiritual work to be done. I had no awareness. But I'm not that person anymore, and I can say that with pride. Like, I am not that person, and I've grown from that. So, yeah, like I said, when I feel myself feeling a certain way, I know to get to the doctor. Like, the doctor for me is Jesus. Like, who's your doctor? I don't know. Maybe it's Mary Jane. Whatever it is, listen, I'm not here to judge. All I'm saying is I know in my heart we all got work to do, and it's no getting away from it. And I don't care what laws are overturned to help with the money or help with the all of this stuff. It's just I don't try to get in people's business, but I feel like everybody's business can become my business if I allow it. But some of the issues that I'm confronted with, I'm just like, man, people aren't doing the work. And when you're sick, you go to the doctor. And for us Christians, our doctor, our great physician is Jesus. And people, I understand, going to shy away from that, and they're not gonna want to address the spiritual aspect of themselves, or they feel like, oh, that's just no. That's something that you got to make up in your mind about. And all I know is that there is sometimes not a Google word for what you're feeling. There's not a description, a symptom, or anything like that for some of the issues that you're having, when because Google didn't make you, your friend didn't make you, that relationship didn't make you. You're trying to find your worth and your value in something that didn't make you. Just like the car that you drive, if it has an issue, you take it in and you get it looked at. Sometimes you take it to the dealer, sometimes you take it to somebody else. And that's kind of where I'm going with Jesus. Like, he's our dealer. He made us. So you need to go to him. But in terms of going to him, it's not just going to him. It's a act of surrender. You're giving him permission to expose your junk, okay? He's the doctor. He is the great I am. He's going to expose all your junk. Just like when you go to the car dealer, whatever. You got a problem with your car, they work on cars. It don't have to be about the maker and all that, but it's about the fact of when you're sick, you go to a doctor. Some of these issues that y'all are having out here in society, in your homes and internally, you don't know where to go. And I'm just saying, because you're not going to the right source. You have a spirit and it came from God, and it needs some work done on it. And I'm just sent here to tell you that God will help you do the work. But you gotta know, like, there may not be a term for it. There may not even be on Google or anywhere you can go or talk to anybody about it. There's not maybe a doctor or life coach or teacher who knows the kind of issues that you're dealing with. But look, listen, I'm telling you, somebody made you, and that somebody is God. That somebody knows your spirit. He knows you internally. He knows what you're struggling with. Whether or not there's a name, there's a face to it. And even if there is, he's waiting for you to come to him and ask him for help in fixing it. Because you got to do the work. You got to do the work. I mean, you can keep band-aiding it. You can keep pushing it on the rug, but you got to do the work. It's not easy work. It takes more than I'm showing that it takes on this video. The kind of work that it takes, I don't know. Y'all just maybe drop down in the comments and let me know if you feel me what I'm saying. This kind of work is not, it's not the kind of work that the world is telling y'all that this kind of way to fix it. This kind of work is done behind closed doors. It's not done out in the open. It's not done with anybody present but you and God. This kind of work isn't done with someone all the time. It may be other people involved in your matter, in your situation, but this kind of work, it is internal first, because it's your sickness, it's your heart, it's your issue that you're carrying, and it's your work. It's not anybody else's fault. It's not anybody else's baggage to carry, because you don't want to admit that you have a spirit and you're carrying around problems in your heart. It's not anybody's fault but yours. But no, you want to keep carrying it, you can, you know. It's not cool, it's not fun. It's not fun. You trying to get to the next level in your life, you can't get there. You try to do everything you can to understand yourself and avoid yourself. You want to understand yourself, but you're avoiding yourself. Maybe you point the finger. Maybe you don't feel intellectual. Maybe you don't feel smart enough. Maybe you feel disadvantaged. But it's still your work. Whether or not you choose to acknowledge it, it's still your work. That, and then with sicknesses, they get passed around. You know, you're just going to keep passing that sickness around to somebody else who you can hide it from, or pass it to your children. They'll catch it. You know, I'm just, you know, Kendra, but hopefully you guys understand my point. I hope you go and see about yourself. I hope you do the work, people. It's time to wake up. Y'all not doing the work. I do the work. Every aspect of my life isn't perfect, but I'm not contaminating people and upsetting people, hopefully, in a way that causes them disruption in their spirit. Like I said, I have been that person before to do so, but I did the work. I brought it to God. I looked in my spirit, and even whether or not the things that I wanted to see, those dark areas, I allowed God to shine the light, His light, on that area, and just begin to heal it. You know, there wasn't maybe a name for it. I didn't know how long it would take, but I did the work, and I will continue to do the work and help others. So guys, I hope I've been a blessing to you today, and I hope that you get ready to do the work. But all of these issues, some of these issues can be avoided. A lot of them. The fornicating, whatever you want to call it, sex work. I know I'm looking at my notes here because it's just so much. I'm just like, I'm tired of hearing about it. Thotting, bopping, clapping, ankles clapping, entanglements, racism. I mean, and those aren't even a quarter of them. But God deal with all that. You know, all of those are, some of those issues are heart issues, you know. You can keep hiding them, keep covering them up, or keep participating in them, but it's just, you know, it's just your sickness that you're spreading to others. Do the work. All right, guys. I'll get a part 2 of this going, but I'm just, you get tired. You know, you talk to people, they haven't grown, they're still dealing with the same demons of anger, rage. Just get tired. People, do your work. God bless y'all. Goodbye.